A very good evening and welcome to your News at 9, coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outspoon.
And I'm Rahna Farouk. Let's start off with a look at tonight's headlines.
Common candidate Maithripala Sirisena responds to the diaspora.
Mahinda Rajapaksa mahatmaya ho etumage pawule kenek ho Gotabe Rajapaksa mahatmaya ho හමුදාපතිවරුන්ගේ සිට ඒ සියලු දෙනා මම ආරක්ෂා කරනවා දාතිකරණයට ගෙනියන්න ඉඩ තියන්නේ නැහැ.
Malika released on bail, prohibited from entering nightclubs. UPFA MP AHM Azwar resigns as an MP. Foreign Minister comments on Dr. Chris Nonis's incident.
Common opposition candidate Maithripala Sirisena convened a media briefing today.
ඉදිරි ජනාධිපති වරණයේදී මහින්ද රාජපක්ෂ මහත්මයා පරාජය වුණොත්
A statement was made that if Mahinda Rajapaksa is defeated at the next presidential election, he will be taken before the war tribunal. I need to make this clear. After I secure victory after defeating Mahinda Rajapaksa at the election, I will protect Mahinda Rajapaksa, members of his family, Gotabaya Rajapaksa and the military commanders from the Tamil diaspora. The Tamil diaspora will not be allowed to take anyone before the International Criminal Court. I wish to clearly make this pledge before the public. I will provide complete security to Mahinda Rajapaksa, members of his family and all the war heroes, including the military commanders.
අපි සම්පූර්ණ ආරක්ෂාව සපයනවායි කියන එක ඉතා පැහැදිලිව ප්‍රතිඥා දෙනවා.
අද කියනවා ජාත්‍යන්තර වටකිරීම තියනවා කියලා. ජාත්‍යන්තර වටකිරීම වට කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ජාත්‍යන්තර
Today it is said that we are surrounded internationally. There is no need to be surrounded because this country has already been sold. How? The economy of the country solely depends on international debt. This is the state of the economy of the country. We need to clearly say that this country is in the need of a national consensus. We thought about it. We can say that Maithripala Sirisena took a policy-based, bold decision, understanding that this can be done with a massive public force. One person has undertaken a dictatorial role. There is a need for a constitutional change in the country.
හැබැයි දැන් ඊටත් වඩා වැදගත්. ඊටම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය කාරණයක් අද ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ රටේ ව්‍යවස්ථාමය වෙනසක් අද අත්‍යවශ්‍ය වෙනවා.
පෞද්ගලික දවසල කිව්වා දැන් ඉවරයි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන කට්ටිය.
They say that crossovers have come to an end and that there won't be any more crossovers. But this week there were 2 crosses. Let's see what happens the next week. We will not reveal the numbers. You, the media, should have to wait for it. You will receive the news alert. There are many who are in fear. They do not wish to speak over the phone. They meet at different locations. The issue now is that all of us came to his side. And the State Intelligence Service and the Army Intelligence Service are not aware of it.
අපි ඔක්කොම ආවා. ඔය රාජ්‍ය බුද්ධියන්ස හමුදා බුද්ධියන්සක එකෙක්වත් දන්නේ.
Journalists also raised questions on Maithripala Sirisena's election campaign.
ඉතා පැහැදිලිව කියන්න ඕනේ කටවුට් පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ නැහැ.
We will not use any cutouts. We will also refrain from using polythene materials. Posters will only be used to raise awareness of a meeting in a respective area. Apart from that, we will not use any posters.
අපි වෙනත් ඉන් බාහිරාවි පෝස්ටර් පාවිච්චි කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වුත් නැහැ.
ඒක සඳුදා අඟහරුවාද වෙනකොට ඇත්තන්ට නිල වශයෙන් ප්‍රකාශයටපත් වෙනවා.
So in the future, will the JHU be seated in the opposition in parliament and in local government institutions? As per the national consensus, the Prime Minister will be from the opposition. So we have an advantage in staying in the opposition. We will see what happens. It's a new journey. The first death anniversary of founder of DS Senanayaka College, Colombo, and educationist the late R.I.T. Alice was marked today. News First takes a look back at the life of the late R.I.T. Alice.
Born on the 3rd of October 1932 in Gaul, Ralph Ignatius Thomas Alice received his primary education at St. Aloysius College in Gaul and St. Anthony's College in Canley. Allas began his career as an assistant teacher at Royal College, Colombo, which laid the foundation for an illustrious journey as a veteran educationist. R.I.T. Allas went on to be the founding principal of one of Sri Lanka's leading education institutions, the Senanayake College, Colombo. Allas joined the public service and served as a state secretary to the Ministry of Education from 1989 to 1993. R.I.T. Allas was also the founder of the Gateway International School and served as the chairman of the Gateway Group until the time of his death. R.I.T. Allas was the loving husband of Rohini Allas and father of parliamentarian Tiran Allas, Dr. Harsha Allas and late Malik Allas. The commemorative event of the late R.I.T. Allas, organised at DS Senanayake College, Colombo, was graced by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. A statue of the late educationist R.I.T. Allas was unveiled at the occasion. The President and the family of late R.I.T. Allas laid floral tributes. A group including politicians, government officials, principal of DS Senanayake College and students were also present at the ceremony. The President also participated in an event organised at the school premises. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also attended a religious observance held at the residence of the renowned educationist, the late R.I.T. Allas.
Let's take a listen to some of the views expressed on the political stage regarding the presidential poll and the common candidate.
The battle is between a scarecrow and a giant. Maithripala Sirisena is a person who worked in the fields. Mahinda Rajapaksa is the son of the leader who raised a voice from parliament, similar to the Bandaranaike family in the country.
They were searching for someone. Finally, someone from our party fell victim to this. They found someone with a bad omen. The victim was Maithripala Sirisena. We regret the decision he took. He had hoppers with us in the morning and left the party. However, the hoppers did not even digest.
I doubt that they will be able to even secure a single SLFP vote. They can have the vote of Maithripala Sirisena. Who is behind this? It is the former president. We still cannot understand her thinking. Is she deceiving the UMP or is she deceiving Maithripala Sirisena? Or has she fooled everyone? This is what we are trying to figure out.
The JVP is adding the icing around this. The TNA is now saying that they will render their support. During the Sirisena rule, the TNA will attempt to remove the military camps in the north and the east within 100 days. We wish to ask how a party like the JHU can go ahead with such a campaign.
Do not look up and spit. If you do, the saliva falls on your own face. Only a monk should be appointed as the executive president and not a layman. If it is a common man, only their aides will receive the benefits. Be it Maithripala, only his aides will receive the benefits.
Last time they tried to bring in Fonseca and defeat Mahinda Rajapaksa, but they failed. The main reason to put forward Maithripala Sirisena against Mahinda Rajapaksa is to somehow defeat him.
The Ravia newspaper reports that the head of the State Intelligence Service has been removed from its position based on a report furnished by the organization on the upcoming presidential election.
According to the newspaper article in question, yet another allegation against the head of the state intelligence is that the organisation was unaware regarding the crossover of a group including Maithripala Sirisena to the opposition.
I read the article in question. It is completely false. I have not been transferred nor have I furnished such a report. Our institute releases true facts. We do not release imbalanced reports. Therefore, I sought the advice of the Attorney General to take legal action in this regard. We also lodged a complaint with the Sri Lanka Press Institute. this article is not true.
Malaka Silva, the son of Minister Mervyn Silva, and 6 other suspects who were arrested on charges of assaulting a foreign couple at a nightclub have been released on bail by the Colombo Magistrates Court.
The suspects were produced to an identification parade today. Incidentally, the British national was only able to identify Malaka Silva at the identification parade. The first accused, Malaka Silva, was imposed with a cash bail of 50,000 rupees and 2 surety bails of rupees 500,000 each. The additional magistrate ordered that Malaka Silva's mother and father come forward as the sureties in the bail application. Malaka Silva and the second suspect were also prohibited from visiting any nightclub or cause tension in public gatherings until the conclusion of the case. The additional magistrate ordered that if the bail conditions were not adhered to, the suspects would be placed under remand custody once again. The case will be taken up again on the 19th of December. At the Sri Lanka Freedom Party press conference convened today in Colombo, journalists questioned on the status of the investigation regarding the alleged assault on Dr. Chris Nonis.
No, the High Commissioner was assaulted and this is a separate issue. Evidence should prove this. Individuals who were present at the venue have filed their reports. If we are to take action against someone, there needs to be evidence. But you are jumping into conclusions. You speak of non-career diplomatic appointments. Is Dr. Chris Nonis a political appointment? Some who were appointed in this manner are serving very efficiently.
A massive destruction took place when calamity struck Koslanda on the 29th last month, which devastated many, with scores of people losing their loved ones. A month after, the people affected by the landslide in Miriabad, the Koslanda, have commenced a hunger strike.
The mountains of Miriabad, which is usually calm and quiet, was echoing with sorrow and grief on the 29th of October 2014. A landslide wiped the entire village from the map. All what was left was mud and rubble. However, a month after we captured this footage bears testament to the hard work put in by security forces personnel after the tragedy struck. The Siratha Shakti Sahanayatra was launched considering it a public responsibility. 1 month after, for many, the events that unfolded on the day of the tragedy is gradually fading. However, for those who survived, the events that unfolded are etched in their hearts and minds. Residents claim that these pledges have been restricted to mere words and not action.
Where are we to go? We need to be told where we are going. We will die here. No one needs to be held responsible for us. A foundation stone was laid, but still nothing has transpired. The members of the armed forces are ready to start construction once they receive the orders. We don't even have water to drink. What we say is hand over the funds to the army. They will do the constructions.
This was the land which was allocated by the political authority in the area for the building of houses for the displaced. On the 10th of this month, Minister of Disaster Management Mahinda Amarweera made the following statement.
We have found a suitable land in the Ampitikanda area. We have decided to build 57 houses in the first phase. I have given instructions to reconstruct the Kovil and the dairy factory over the next 2 weeks. The construction will get underway with the assistance of the army personnel.
19 days after, we questioned the minister on the progress made.
The government has taken steps to provide them with food and water. We have taken various steps to provide the displaced with permanent dwellings. They have allocated lands. Provisions have been made to provide them with houses over the next 6 months. If the authorities are not working towards this end, we will work towards it.
The residents of Miriabad claim that they are yet to see concrete answers from authorities. They fear that just as the landslide wiped away everything, their hope of a roof on top of their heads will be a mere expectation. On one of our headline-making stories, United People's Freedom Alliance Nationalist MP A.H.M. Azwar has resigned from Parliament today. Secretary-General of Parliament Dhammika Dissanayake said that Azwar tendered his resignation this afternoon. He added that the resignation will be forwarded to the Elections Commissioner.
Doctors serving in the Galle district went on strike today as a mark of protest against the Mayor of Galle obstructing the services of a public health officer.
Medical health officers employed at all hospitals except those serving at Karapita and Mahamodra teaching hospitals and 3 base hospitals refrained from duties today. Secretary of the Government Medical Officers Association attached to the Galle district, Kamala Kodikara, cited the attack launched at the employee of the Galle Municipal Council as the reason behind the strike action. Meanwhile, locals charge that transportation along the road between Ubia and Ginigaspiti in Kurunagala is proving difficult owing to the dilapidated state of the road. The locals staged a demonstration seeking the immediate renovation of this road. Parliamentarian Nimal Jayasinghe, who arrived at the location, promised to renovate the road. However, the locals were not pleased. Subsequently, the MP attempted to contact Project Minister Nirmala Kothalawala via telephone in a bid to provide a solution, and the locals reacted.
The Disaster Management Centre notes that around 2,000 families have been displaced owing to the inclement weather.
100 families in the Ratmalyaya area along the Putlam-Colombo main road have been affected after over 60 houses were inundated. Around 100 families were affected in the Sirimapura area and Ginnavatta area in Madurankulya. Meanwhile, our cameras captured footage of a crocodile that was seen near the official residence complex of the Lakvijay Reservoir following the floods. Wildlife officials of Kaluvaraga took measures to release the crocodile to the Vilpattu National Park. With the opening of all sluice gates at the Ambakulabava Reservoir, vehicular movement on the Attragalla-Ambakulabava road was hampered. The water released from the spill gates was released into the Inginimitia Reservoir through Oya. Meanwhile, spill gates of the Attragalla Reservoir in Galgama was also open. According to reports, over 2,000 persons in the Vavuniya district have been displaced with the onset of heavy showers. 419 houses have been submerged. Our correspondent in the area said that camps have been set up in 4 areas, including Tamanam Kulam and Pudiya Velasingham Kulam. 1 person was washed away by the waters of the Manik River following the heavy showers experienced in the Devalagoda area in Okkampitiya last afternoon. The victim had been identified as an employee at a mine in Valimada. Such operations are underway in search of the missing person. 7 spill gates at the Daduroya Reservoir were opened this morning due to the heavy showers. Low-lying areas are facing the risk of being flooded due to the overflowing of the Daduroya. With the opening of all spill gates of the Kalaoya, the main road from Aukana to Kakirava has gone underwater. Seas off Delph Island had been rough since this morning. According to our correspondent, as a result, fishing in the seas came to a standstill.
Meanwhile, Deputy Meteorologist of the Department of Meteorology, Nimal Bandara, said that rains are forecast in many areas in the island. Now moving on to more local news, opposition leaders of the Mihintale and Thalava Pradeshya Sabha has joined the UPFA. The opposition leader of the Thalava Pradeshya Sabha, Sarath Dissanayake, and the opposition leader of the Mihintale Pradeshya Sabha, Lalit Edirasinghe, joined the UPFA this morning subsequent to a meeting with Minister S.M. Chandrasena.
The Department of Inland Revenue has decided to introduce a new mechanism to encourage taxpayers. Commissioner General of the Department, RMRW Manchanayake, notes that individuals who pay tax on time have been issued with a privilege card and other benefits.
A program was launched today where members from the Department of Inland Revenue will directly visit taxpayers and receive income statements. Meanwhile, a centre to hand over income statements swiftly was opened at the Inland Revenue Department Jawata branch today. A drive-through system with high levels of efficiency was launched today, where the taxpayer could hand in the documentation easily and the taxpayer would in return receive a certificate. Only 2% of the Sri Lankan population pays taxes. We need to appreciate these taxpayers. A special focus needs to be drawn towards these taxpayers. We intend to provide these taxpayers with benefits in the future.
UMP Western Provincial Councillor S.M. Marika expressed his sentiments on the role of the opposition at a function held today.
The ceremony to mark the distribution of bicycles was held at the Ratmalana Divisional Secretariat under the auspices of UNP Western Provincial Councillor S.M. Marika.
Today the country's politics is in a bad state. They don't know who serves the public and who steals from the public. People are unable to choose. The public aren't willing to put up with the situation any longer. One should not lament that they are in the opposition. They should use their creativity and introduce new initiatives. That is what they expect. Therefore, as politicians, we must do something new.
United National Party parliamentarian Buddhika Pathirana says that politicians have no acceptance in society.
The parliamentarian made this observation at an event held in the Diyagaha area in Matara today to donate food packs to undernourished children under the Samadhi Kyakulu Suicide program. I believe that politicians have lost their respect before the public today. They are disgusted with politicians. When we look at news on websites and when we look at the views of the people about these politicians on social media networks, no one wants to even enter politics. If we ask a child what his ambition is, I'm confident that no one would say that they want to be a politician. Politicians should be held responsible for the current mindset of the public on politicians.
A seminar was organized by the Sri Lanka Medical Association to create awareness on non-communicable diseases.
We see an increase in the number of non-communicable diseases in the country. Deaths amounting to 100,000 to 120,000 are reported in the country annually. Over 60% of the deaths are as a result of non-communicable diseases. Heart diseases are cited as the main reason for 80% of the mortalities caused by non-communicable diseases. There is a common denominator in these cases, the reason being the consumption of alcohol and smoking habits and also lack of exercise. Bad food regimes with excessive amounts of salt or the excessive amounts of sugar that is used in food is also a cause for this. We need to make changes in the consumptions of such patterns. The ministry is not only tasked with creating awareness, regulations are also formulated by us. For example, regulations on inclusion of sugar levels in products.
Sini, Lunu, Pishtadatu.
We need to provide an opportunity for the society to live a healthy life by educating them not to smoke and consume excessive sugar, starch, salt and fat. We are ahead compared to the whole of South Asia when it comes to non-communicable diseases. These data have been received from the WHO.
Picture of health is changing now, right? If you take the number one killers, you'll find that the infectious diseases are slowly fading away. All the heart attacks, the strokes, the diabetes, everything is coming into the limelight, taking much attention, and it's a huge burden. It's not only the mortality, it's not only the deaths, but if you take the morbidity as well, it's causing a huge strain both in the public and the private sector.
Defending its submarines docking at Colombo port as common practice, Chinese military today termed utterly groundless reports that it is setting up 18 naval bases in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Myanmar and several other places in the western and southern Indian Ocean.
The Economic Times of India, quoting a Chinese official, indicates that the report is not accurate. According to the Economic Times report, the submarine of the China's People Liberation Navy made quote-unquote technical docking twice in Colombo port while on escort mission to anti-piracy operations in Gulf of Aden in Somalia. The report goes on to say that the submarine's docking evoked concerns in India, especially in the backdrop that Colombo port was renovated with large funding from China. India reportedly took up the issue with Sri Lanka, where China also built another port at Hambantota. The Chinese official quotes by the Economic Times says that, quote, it is quite common practice for the submarines to dock in certain ports for replenishments, unquote. Asked to clarify under what conditions the Chinese military would set up bases abroad, he said, quote, currently there are no military bases abroad for the Chinese military, unquote. China in the past has maintained that it had no plans for establishing military bases abroad as it expanded its navy with modern fleet, including an aircraft carrier. Earlier, the Namibian report said Walvis Bay of Namibia will be one of the 18 naval bases to be established by Chinese in various countries including Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Myanmar in the northern Indian Ocean, Djibouti, Yemen, Oman, Kenya, Tanzania and Mozambique in the western Indian Ocean, and Seychelles and Madagascar in the central South Indian Ocean.
Up next is a look at Action TV.
It is with the establishment of the Thabova agrarian hamlet that the Thabova Roman Catholic College was established in 1930. The 85th anniversary of the school that falls next year is important for yet another reason, as it is anticipated that the total number of students at the school will increase by a record number in the next year. This increase is a result of a closure of the primary section of a neighbouring school. When the situation is such, the school had functioned on 2 sessions since the 19th of November. This was due to an announcement by the Disaster Management Centre that a building in school which was built at its inception is in a dilapidated state and was officially declared unsafe. Accordingly, students of grade 3 and 4 are to attend school in the afternoon. The school functions from 11:30 to 3. Students are sitting for their term examinations these days and they lack facilities. Following a request made by the parents who identified the risk of this building, which is 84 years old, Senior Minister Milroy Fernando has released 500,000 rupees from his decentralized funds to the Karawalagasavar Pradeshya Sabha in June. The request made by the parents from the Pradeshya Sabha to build just a roof which is 80 feet long and 20 feet wide has fallen on deaf ears. The parents had made this request in order to make a location to conduct classes on a temporary basis until the completion of a new building which is being carried out at a snail pace. When it is evident that the work of the new building cannot be completed before the beginning of the next year, isn't the disregard for parents' requests for a temporary shelter is an indirect message to over 100 students who have been selected for the new grade 1 class of the school to find alternative schools? Chief Minister of the Northwestern Province, this is over to you.
Starting off sports news, captain of the Sri Lankan cricket team Angelo Mathew says that there will be no change in the home side that will play the second ODI against England tomorrow.
Sri Lanka will take on England tomorrow at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo, which experienced a heavy rainfall this evening.
Game 2 of the 7-match ODI series between Sri Lanka and England will be played as a day and night encounter in Colombo tomorrow. The Sri Lankan team took part in their final practices today ahead of the second ODI. Sri Lanka won the first ODI by 25 runs. The Lankan skipper says that the team expects to use new techniques and tactics in tomorrow's game.
All 15 players were told to be prepared to play during the last game because we will have to change the team combination in the event the match is affected by rain. We have not reached a decision on any major changes, but we will play well tomorrow.
As a result of the heavy downpour experienced in Colombo, especially in the area of the venue, the English were deprived of the opportunity to engage in practices. Manager of the R. Premadasa Stadium, Godfrey Dabare, said that the covers have been placed on the green. He went on to say that measures have been taken to prevent water from remaining on the ground. The British and Australian High Commissioners of Sri Lanka paid tribute to late Phil Hughes, who died after being struck on the top of the neck by a ball during a domestic match in Sydney during a reception that was held at Westminster House.
The reception, which saw the participation of both the Sri Lankan and England cricket teams, was part of the programme, putting British business on the front foot.
And as the national anthems played, I knew that we all shared a moment of grief for Phil, because this, like Australia and England, is a cricketing nation, and the ripples from Phil's death have gone far and wide throughout the day today. I also felt very proud to be a member of a nation like the UK and Sri Lanka, which produces such excellent sportsmen and makes such an impact in the game that people love.
Philip Hughes was, of course, well known to the players who are with us here this evening and to the wider public. He toured here in Sri Lanka as a player with the Australian team, and he also toured with Australia in England. Giles Clarke, the England-Wales Cricket Board chairman, noted today that Phil was an extremely popular and hugely respected cricketer, and that he will be missed throughout the world of cricket. Our thoughts and prayers this evening are with his family and his loved ones and his fellow players in the Australian team at this difficult time. Let me also note that while one of the links between our two countries is business, another great link is sport, and we enjoy a long and warm relationship between our two countries in that particular arena. And cricket is, of course, a game which brings together players and supporters in a set of shared values and commitment to sportsmanship.
People around the world have put their cricket bats out in tribute to late cricketer Philip Hughes, who died in hospital yesterday after being hit by a bouncer.
Well, now, while many raise concerns surrounding safety for cricket players, Cricket Australia says that it will take measures to make safety the priority of players.
Less than a day after the death of Australia's Phil Hughes, hundreds of people around the world paid tribute by putting their cricket bats out. Many, including those in the cricketing fraternity, joined the hashtag #PutOutYourBats campaign in tribute to the late cricketer. Meanwhile, Cricket Australia says it will immediately launch a review into safety protocols and protection for players.
Telling me just how much he changed. Well, it is clearly, statistics say that it's clearly a freak incident, but one freak incident is one freak incident too many. So that, of course, puts us in a position of looking into that, and we will immediately, in consultation with the manufacturers and the other safety providers or regulators, look into it to make sure that these things are addressed and improved. And it's a matter of interest not just for us here in Australia, but for cricketers all over the world.
Today, a day before the second ODI between England and Sri Lanka, the captains of the two teams paid tribute to Australian batsman Phil Hughes.
First thing I heard when I woke up last morning, and it was, I had a very tough day, going through it, because, even though he's an Australian, he's our mate, and, when you lose a friend of yours, it is very difficult to go through.
It's been a really, really sad day yesterday, a tragic day for cricket, and, words I say here isn't going to do anything justice, really. I mean, as we know, this is a real tragic accident. I don't think we should change the way cricket plays. We play cricket at all, because I don't think that's the right way to go about it.
Outpouring of opinion on the obstruction of transmission during a political segment Saturday created much buzz and went viral on social media.
Tonight we leave you with a post which drew much attention. For the News First team, I'm Rahna Farouk.
And I'm Joel Outscoon. Have yourself a great weekend ahead.